I thought I'd make this short video in response to a rather perhaps tongue-in-cheek throwaway remark I saw about it, and it went along the lines of why don't you get something modern and have a more comfortable, possibly enjoyable ride. Um, that's all a matter of opinion really, and it's all academic. As for enjoyable, I think that this is thoroughly enjoyable. I could afford to buy a modern bike, of course, but I'm just not really interested in them, and they don't do anything for me. They don't even sort of look appealing to me, to be honest, which is why I like these older machines. And I know it's got its limitations regarding its power and its brakes and suspension and everything, but I think it acquitted itself rather well recently in a few off-road adventures we've had, which probably total a good sort of 90 miles or so, the two of them. The most recent one I think was 45 miles all in, with a fair bit done on tarmac, but the rough stuff was pretty rough and jolty. And sure enough, the following day I was alright the evening after the ride, but the following day I felt like someone had driven a tractor over me. But I think that's more down to my own sort of lack of fitness and medical reasons than blaming the bike. Probably if I was fitter and did it more often, it would be a walk in the park. But yes, I concur and concede that modern bikes have got much better suspension and are much more comfortable. Apparently you can even have heated grips and a heated seat. Well, I can tell you one thing, I was more than warm enough while I was riding this machine the other day in the rough, so I don't really need heated anything. And on top of that, this bike is the sort of result of my using bits from a couple of bikes I had as a youngster when I was in my teens, and picking the best bits and reusing them and building this. So I can't really sort of put an exact figure on what this particular machine cost me, but the two main donor bikes that enabled me to build this, I think one of them cost £60 and the other one cost £50. So let's say that's £110 probably in the late 70s. So I think this particular machine has probably gone up in value, let's say conservatively 20 times in perhaps a little over 40 years. I can't see me going and buying a brand new off-road dirt bike. Not that I'll be around in 40 years time, of course. Well, I may well be, but I doubt I'll be riding motorbikes if I am. I can't see that anything that I could buy now would go up in value by a similar amount by the time it reaches this age, and it probably wouldn't even exist actually, because I was using this machine or similar ones to it back in 1980 when a friend of mine had a brand new Yamaha YZ125G, I think it was, and I doubt that thing even exists now. It probably would have died a death before it reached 10 years old, I should imagine. But these old things, they can just soldier on with basic maintenance and a bit of looking after. And if we look there, in case anyone's wondering why the rear tyre has got oily patches on it, there's not a leak that's caused that. After the off-road adventures the other day and going through some deep water, the chain needed oiling, so I'd oiled the chain and been doing some short trips around the village and so on with it, and that's Oil Fling that's done that. We haven't got any leaks, nothing broke, and after that day out, I think, if I remember, we used just over half a gallon of fuel to do that. The clutch pressure plate adjuster probably needs backing off a quarter of a turn or so because I got a little bit of clutch slip. I've oiled the chain, as I said, and I think the exhaust pipe might have moved forwards off its stub on the cylinder head by a millimetre or so, so I'm going to have a look at that. But that's all, and I think anything like that could probably happen on a current or modern machine, so I'm quite happy that this one did what it did on all the sort of state-of-the-art 1960s electrics it's got on it, and it's points ignition and everything. Like I say, the main thing is it's not all about the ride and where you head off from and your destination. There's a hell of a lot more to it than that, and for me anyway, and that involves being on a certain bike or a certain type of bike. Now, I could have joined in with my friends the other day. I haven't even got a modern bike, but let's say I did have. There wouldn't have been the same appeal for me to do that. I wanted to do that because I was on this bike, and one of my friends that was with me also helped me to put this together over 40 years ago, and he was keen to see it out and about. So the whole sort of point of me doing these rides on these machines is because of the machines themselves, rather than, you know, what they are. And I appreciate they're not modern. There's plenty of places, other channels and whatever on YouTube where you can probably see people riding modern bikes and perhaps get into much rougher terrain than I've been on, but this is about the old bikes and the fact that they can still be useful and enjoyable even in some rather extreme and rough conditions, at least to them. So that's why I do what I do, and I really enjoy it, and I really get a lot of satisfaction out of seeing these old things still putting up a fight and doing a day's work. And I've got no interest or intention in getting anything modern, but for anyone who likes the older stuff, stick around. But if you want to see modern stuff getting thrashed around, I'm sorry, but you won't be seeing it here.